Adam Wharton, Real Madrid's next midfield jewel? Adam Wharton, the English midfielder currently playing for Crystal Palace, has quickly become one of the most talked-about names in European football. At just 21 years of age, he has established himself as one of the brightest young prospects in the Premier League and, at the same time, as one of Real Madrid's main transfer targets for the summer of 2026. For Madridistas, this is not just another transfer rumor. It represents a strategic move that aligns with the club's long-standing tradition of identifying world-class talent early, shaping future dynasties, and staying one step ahead of the competition. The rise of a modern midfielder. Wharton's career trajectory has been anything but ordinary. He began his journey at Blackburn Rovers, where his composure and technical ability in midfield already set him apart from his peers. But it was his move to Crystal Palace that transformed him from a promising championship player into a Premier League standout. In the most recent campaign, Wharton played over 30 official matches, becoming a cornerstone of the Palace midfield. His influence was critical in helping the club secure historic trophies, the FCUP and the Community Shield, achievements that elevated the team's profile and underscored Wharton's role as the heartbeat of the squad. What made Wharton so valuable was not just his consistency, but his versatility. He broke up opposition attacks with intelligence and anticipation, while also initiating attacking plays with precise distribution. For many Palace supporters, he was not only a midfielder, but also a symbol of the club's growing ambition. Playing style, a complete package. Wharton embodies the qualities of the modern midfielder, combining physical dominance, tactical awareness, and technical elegance. Analysts often highlight four main aspects of his game: defensive intelligence, strong in duels, skilled at interceptions, and capable of reading opponents' intentions before they unfold. Playmaking ability, comfortable in possession, reliable in short passing, and capable of delivering long-range diagonals with pinpoint accuracy. Tactical versatility, can function as a single pivot in a 4-3-3, as part of a double pivot in a 4-2-3-1, or as a box-to-box interior, adapting seamlessly. Mentality, mature beyond his years, showing leadership qualities and composure under pressure. His style has often been compared to Declan Rice and Rodri, players who dominate midfield battles while orchestrating attacking transitions. Xabi Alonso's midfield vision. The interest from Real Madrid becomes easier to understand when considering the tactical philosophy of the club's new coach, Xabi Alonso. As a player, Alonso was one of the most cerebral midfielders of his generation, and as a manager, he emphasizes control, balance, and intelligence in the center of the pitch. The Madrid midfield is undergoing a generational shift. The golden years of Luka Modric and Toni Kroos are drawing to a close, and the club has already invested heavily in young talents such as Eduardo Camavinga, Aurelien Tchouameni, Federico Valverde, and Jude Bellingham. Adding Wharton to that mix would give Alonso a player capable of anchoring the midfield, a stabilizer who could provide defensive cover while also initiating attacks. Some commentators argue that Wharton could become Madrid's own version of Rodri, offering structure and balance that allows players like Bellingham and Valverde to roam more freely. A strategic investment. The projected cost of the transfer is estimated at €60 million, a figure that reflects not just his current ability, but his enormous potential. For Real Madrid, this would be well within the range of recent investments in young players: €45 million for Vinicius Jr., €40 million for Rodrigo, €80 million for Tchouameni, and €100 million for Bellingham. The competition, however, will be fierce. Liverpool and Arsenal are closely monitoring the player, while some in England argue that the Premier League must do everything possible to keep such talent at home. Yet, reports suggest that Wharton himself is tempted by the allure of Real Madrid, its history, its global prestige, and its consistent place at the heart of the Champions League. Media and fan reactions. In England, Wharton has been hailed as one of the crown jewels of his generation. Comparisons with Steven Gerrard and Declan Rice have already surfaced, with pundits noting his leadership qualities and relentless energy. In Spain, the reaction has been equally enthusiastic. Madrid-based newspapers have praised the club's proactive approach, noting that securing Wharton would not only strengthen the squad but also weaken the competition by keeping him out of Premier League giants' hands. On social media, fans are already speculating about a midfield quartet of Bellingham, Camavinga, Valverde, and Wharton, a unit that could dominate Europe for years to come. Implications for the Premier League and beyond. Should Wharton join Real Madrid, it would once again highlight Los Blancos' unmatched ability to attract the brightest talents even against the financial power of the Premier League. It would also be a symbolic blow to English clubs, who would see one of their most promising stars opt for Spain. For Crystal Palace, his departure would leave a massive gap to fill. Wharton has been the engine of their project, and finding a replacement of similar caliber would be an enormous challenge. Echoes of past Madrid transfers. This potential signing fits perfectly into Madrid's broader strategy over the past decade, securing young talent before their value skyrockets. The formula has already worked wonders with Vinicius, Rodrigo, Valverde, Camavinga, and more recently Bellingham. If Wharton adapts successfully to Spanish football, he could follow the same path, from promising youngster to world-class pillar of the team. Conclusion: the summer of 2026 could be defining. Adam Wharton is not just another transfer target. He represents the type of player Real Madrid craves: young, talented, versatile, and capable of shaping the club's future. His arrival would not only reinforce the present, but also guarantee stability in midfield for the next decade. The summer of 2026 promises to be decisive. With Liverpool, Arsenal, and other Premier League clubs circling, and with Crystal Palace eager to hold on, the battle for Wharton is set to intensify. Yet if reports are true, and Wharton dreams of wearing white, the Santiago Bernabéu may soon welcome the Premier League's next midfield prodigy, ready to write his own chapter in Madrid's legendary history. The second major piece of news shaking the Real Madrid universe has a clear protagonist: Eduardo Camavinga. The French midfielder, born in 2002 and developed at Rennes, has gone from being labeled one of Europe's brightest young prospects to establishing himself as an indispensable figure in the club's sporting project. When he arrived at the Bernabéu in 2021 at just 18 years old, he brought with him the promise of raw talent and potential. But few could have predicted that in only a short span of time he would grow into one of the cornerstones of Madrid's present, and, more importantly, its future. From the very beginning, it was evident that this was not just another signing. Camavinga possesses a rare blend of physical, technical, and mental attributes. His ability to cover ground, his seemingly endless energy, and his knack for winning back possession all fit perfectly into the blueprint of the modern midfielder. But what truly sets him apart is his calmness under pressure, his vision when distributing the ball, and his intelligence in adapting to different tactical contexts. At such a young age, he plays with the maturity of a seasoned veteran, yet still with the spark and freshness of youth. The coaching staff, led by Xabi Alonso, has complete confidence in him. Alonso, who in his own playing days was one of the finest midfielders in Europe, understands better than anyone the value of having such a versatile and intelligent player at the heart of the pitch. For Alonso, Camavinga is not just another piece of the puzzle. He is the glue that binds the lines together. He is the one who ensures balance, who shields the defense when necessary, and who simultaneously provides the creative spark to initiate attacks. In many ways, Camavinga acts as the manager's extension on the field, a player who reads the game with clarity and executes with precision. Last season was far from straightforward. Injuries disrupted his continuity and denied him a sustained run of form. Yet, even in those circumstances, he managed to showcase glimpses of his immense talent. Now, fully recovered and physically stronger, he is ready to reclaim the spotlight. This campaign is shaping up to be the one in which he fully consolidates himself as an undisputed starter, a player whose influence could tilt Madrid's fortunes in La Liga and the Champions League. What makes him even more valuable is his tactical versatility. Unlike midfielders confined to a single role, Camavinga has shown he can excel as a defensive pivot, anchoring the team with interceptions, recoveries, and distribution, as a box-to-box midfielder, linking play and driving the ball forward, and even as an interior, providing attacking depth and creativity. On several occasions, he has even been deployed as a makeshift left-back, proving his tactical discipline and team-first mentality. Few players in world football can adapt so seamlessly without losing efficiency, and that makes him a rare gem for a squad competing across multiple fronts. From an institutional perspective, his presence sends a powerful message. Florentino Perez and the board are signaling that Real Madrid's project does not solely revolve around marquee, short-term signings, but around building a young, hungry core capable of sustaining dominance over the next decade. Alongside Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Valverde, Tchouaméni, Bellingham, and Arda Güler, Camavinga is at the heart of this generational shift. He embodies the delicate balance of being impactful in the present while still having an enormous margin for growth. The Real Madrid faithful, demanding as they are, have already embraced him. Winning over the Santiago Bernabéu crowd is never easy. The fans expect maximum effort, commitment, and ambition. But Camavinga has connected with them through his relentless work rate, his fearless approach in big matches, and his refusal to hide when the team is under pressure. Each time he throws himself into a tackle, wins back a ball, or drives forward to spark an attack, the stadium responds with applause and chants of appreciation. He embodies the values Madridistas hold sacred: sacrifice, talent, and hunger for greatness. In terms of style, comparisons with past Madrid greats are inevitable. In certain aspects, he recalls Claude Makélélé, with his ability to recover possession and maintain balance. In others, he echoes Fernando Redondo, with his elegance and vision. Yet, Camavinga is not merely a successor to those legends. He represents a new hybrid for the modern game, a more complete midfielder, equally capable of destroying and creating, molded for the demands of today's football. His presence will be crucial in the Champions League and La Liga, where consistency and adaptability make all the difference. Over the course of long seasons filled with decisive matches, having a player who can seamlessly shift roles provides not only tactical depth but also competitive stability. Analysts across Europe agree, if Camavinga remains injury-free, he could become one of the continent's most influential midfielders in the coming years. Ultimately, Real Madrid's commitment to Camavinga goes beyond the pitch. He represents the future identity of the club. His competitive spirit, discipline, eagerness to learn, and ambition position him as a future leader, someone destined not just to play, but to lead. He is, without doubt, one of the pillars upon which a new golden era at the Santiago Bernabéu is being built. The message is crystal clear: Eduardo Camavinga is not only the present, but the future. In a club where every season is measured in silverware, the belief is firm: with him commanding the midfield, Madrid's chances of continued glory only grow stronger. He is not merely a player. He is a symbol of ambition, identity, and the promise of a new dynasty in white. The third piece of news of the day has exploded onto the footballing landscape like a true bombshell, shaking not only the Real Madrid fanbase but also the international transfer market. The Spanish giants, always alert to strategic opportunities that can secure the future of their squad, are now reportedly monitoring a player who perfectly embodies the demands of modern football. João Pedro, the 23-year-old Brazilian forward, developed at Fluminense in Rio de Janeiro and currently playing for Chelsea Football Club in the English Premier League. Real Madrid's interest in the young striker is not the result of chance or a passing rumor. Instead, it fits within a carefully designed long-term strategy orchestrated by club president Florentino Perez and his sporting department. Over the past decade, the club has systematically shifted toward a recruitment model based on youth, raw talent, and future potential. Examples abound. Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo Goes were signed as teenagers from Brazil and developed into household names, while the upcoming arrival of Endrick from Palmeiras continues the same pattern. João Pedro ticks many of the same boxes. Blessed with extraordinary athletic ability, he combines blistering pace with excellent movement off the ball, making him extremely difficult to mark. His versatility allows him to feature across the front line, as a central striker, as a left or right winger, or even as a second striker drifting between the lines. Above all, he has a sharp goal-scoring instinct and the composure to deliver in high-pressure situations, qualities that Real Madrid traditionally seek in players destined to wear the iconic white shirt. His situation in London adds another layer of intrigue. While he arrived at Chelsea with high expectations and clear promise, the instability surrounding the club, frequent managerial changes, tactical reshuffles, and heavy squad rotation has made it difficult for him to cement a starting role. Reports suggest that João Pedro feels unsettled by the lack of continuity, opening the door for an exit. For Real Madrid, this represents a golden window of opportunity, the chance to acquire a forward of immense potential who still hasn't hit his ceiling. One of the most eye-catching elements of the developing story is the possibility of including Rodrigo Goes in the negotiation. Rodrigo, also Brazilian, joined Real Madrid in 2019 and has already delivered unforgettable moments, none more iconic than his two late goals in the legendary Champions League comeback against Manchester City in 2022. However, his current season has been marked by inconsistency, raising questions within the club about whether he can establish himself as a permanent starter. Using him as a makeweight could allow Madrid to significantly reduce the financial outlay for João Pedro, while simultaneously offering Chelsea a proven international forward with Champions League pedigree. Strategically and economically, it could be a masterstroke. Unsurprisingly, the English press has seized on the story, highlighting once again Florentino Perez's uncanny ability to anticipate the transfer market and execute headline-grabbing moves. British analysts point out that this is not the first time Real Madrid have targeted young talents before their peak valuation. While risky, this approach has paid off handsomely in the past, Vinicius and Valverde being prime examples of investments that blossomed into world-class stars. From a purely footballing perspective, João Pedro's arrival would offer Carlo Ancelotti valuable tactical flexibility. The Brazilian could operate as a lone striker in matches where Madrid lack a traditional number 9, slot into a wide role to complement Vinicius on the opposite flank, or form a strike partnership with Endrick in the near future. His presence would make the team more adaptable, capable of alternating between a classic 4-3-3, with João Pedro on either wing, or a more direct 4-4-2 that exploits his movement and pace. The Madrid fanbase, known worldwide for its passion and demanding nature, has reacted with mixed emotions. On one hand, many see João Pedro as the ideal profile: young, dynamic, ambitious, and hungry for glory. On the other hand, there is hesitation about parting ways with Rodrygo, a player who has already proven his ability to deliver in the biggest of matches. The debate evokes memories of past high-risk decisions in which Real Madrid sacrificed talented players to open the door for new projects, sometimes with spectacular results, sometimes with regrets. Brazilian footballers have always shared a special bond with Real Madrid. From the golden era of Roberto Carlos and Ronaldo Nazario, through Kaká, Marcelo, Casemiro, and Robinho, to the current generation led by Vinicius and Rodrygo, Brazil has consistently been a source of extraordinary talent for Los Blancos. Should João Pedro arrive, he would be the latest name in a long line of Brazilians to write their chapter in the club's history. This enduring connection between Madrid and Brazilian stars has produced some of the most iconic moments in modern football. Beyond the pitch, the move would also carry significant media and commercial weight. Real Madrid are not only chasing goals but also global influence. Signing a young, marketable Brazilian forward would strengthen the club's brand, particularly in South America, where millions of fans follow the journeys of their national stars abroad. For Florentino Perez, João Pedro represents not only a sporting investment but also a strategic one, with potential benefits in terms of merchandising, sponsorship, and international fan engagement. Ultimately, the potential signing of João Pedro combines all the hallmarks of a classic Real Madrid move: sporting risk, financial audacity, and global attention. It would be a bold gamble to trade away Rodrygo for an unproven talent at the very highest level, yet it could also be a visionary step that secures the club's attacking future for the next decade. If completed, the deal would not only reshape Real Madrid's frontline but also dominate football headlines worldwide, positioning João Pedro as one of the most talked-about signings of the era and possibly the next Brazilian star to shine under the bright lights of the Santiago Bernabéu.